forward day. Ah, what a huge relief that is for Ghost and all of us that bring forward, and now we got extra hours of daylight. It's nice. It makes the day go by so much nicer. Welcome to this week's episode of the Pet Pro Educators, the Groomers Cut Live. We are here for our third week of talking about certifications and all the opportunities that all of us groomers have and the directions we can go in. If this is your first time watching, please grant StreamYard permission on the Facebook platform that you are watching on so we can see your comments. We are live streaming on 10 different platforms this evening, so you might not see all of the questions coming in, but we will answer them and talk about them so that everybody has an understanding of what we're going on. This evening, we have Miss Wendy Booth from the National Dog Groomers Association of America. Got to finish it off with that. And you are here. We've introduced, I think everybody viewing is starting to learn us. We also have Bobby Bauer, who is going to be popping in here soon. She knows a lot about certifications. So Jennifer cannot make it this evening. So it'll just be us. She had an emergency to take care of. So please give us your names. We want to see you. Hello, Terry. Welcome back. And Lisa. And let's get going. Anybody? How about first off, I'm going to ask this. What is behind the National Dog Groomers? How did this get started? What's the history?
Well, the history is very interesting. National Dog Groomers leads the industry in our certification program, and we were the first association out there since 1969. In the mid-'80s, Shirley McBride, she decided it was time to start testing and getting out some credentials and trying to get some standards in our grooming industry. Now, you have to remember, this was in the 80s, and in 88, she had the program finalized, and they started tapping the waters out there. And Carolyn Bullock and Shirley McBride started finding locations throughout the country, interested areas, and they started going to this location, that location. I don't know if they made any money at that time. Probably not. It didn't matter. They were trying to get the program going. So that started in 88. And, she had that program going full-fledged, and then she left us in, I believe it was 06 or 07, and Peggy Harris took over as certification coordinator. Then we lost her in 10, and then that's when I stepped in. So
I was going to ask you what your role was with that.
I'm the certification coordinator.
Okay, and what does that mean?
Well, it just means I head the program and I don't work for a lot of money, but guess what? I got a lot of good responsibilities. I work with the finest in the industry. We have 15 of the best certifiers. Well, and I'm very biased on that part, but we do. We just simply have the best. Our program started it all, and then as others may have talked about, whether it was Pam or the people at IPG, and Chris Berry, they've just come up into the ranks. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. We all offer a fabulous program. We offer accreditation. The big thing is come, test the waters, see what the testing's all about. Are you up for the challenge? And if so, well, in my state, there are a lot of people out there to help you. And that's really great when you have somebody that you can tap, that knows what it's all about, and they can help you.
Who are some of your certifiers?
No, I have only the best. I don't want to miss any names, okay? So I'm going to read so I don't blow this. She's in California. Jody Murphy. She's in, New York or New Jersey right now. Sally or Sarah Hawks. Mm-hmm. Pennsylvania, Carol Kokler and Judy Hudson, they're in Tennessee. Suze Echo's in Massachusetts. We have Chris Pulowski in northeastern Ohio. Suzanne Watson, she moved to Georgia, but she's still part of us. We also have Lisa Leedy, Diane Bedelack in New York. We have Pina in Florida. I'm sorry, Irina Kusevich in Florida, aka Pina. We have Michelle Evans. She's up in the Portland, Oregon area. Colorado. Joni Anderson's in Florida, and Nancy Hahn is also in California. Simply the best. What can I say?
Yeah.
That's who I get to work with. So
That's who you get to work with. So you got some big names there.
Yeah.
Insane lineup. Yeah.
Just
That's
great
a
people.
hell of a roster there. Boy.
Yeah.
So what
Absolutely.
makes your program different than others?
Well, I can really talk about my program much more so than I can the others because I know somebody that hasn't tested the water. She's sitting right here. I've just been really complacent with national and trying to see us grow in the industry. What makes us different? I'm not so certain. I mean, our testing's stringent also. Nobody is given this. Back in the 80s when Shirley first got this going and 90s, you'd hear people saying at shows or conversations, so, what about certifying? What do you think? Oh, yeah, just show up, pay your money, bring a dog, they'll pass you. Oh, that made Shirley mad. She'd go back in and rewrite the tests, make them harder. She just didn't want to hear the rigmarole out there. But what our testing really entails, and I don't encourage people to try to do it in a weekend. There's plenty of people that have. And I can honestly say, before this pandemic, I was privileged enough to grade probably 25% of the tests throughout the year on any given year. Those that would come in and try to do it in a whole weekend, the first dog would be really good, maybe their second too, and by the time they're demonstrating their fourth dog, you could see the progression, they're getting tired, they're getting stressed, they're not so focused. It's a very arduous weekend. So I always say, sit back and enjoy the journey. Take your time, smell the dirty paws, look, nice ears, whatever it takes. But I don't encourage, it can be done. I don't encourage trying to do it all in one weekend.
I've got a really great Shirley McBride story.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
I certified in sporting under Shirley McBride. I took she did a demo, and I brought a cocker for her to demo on so she could, show us. We had our seminar before the testing. And I took the easiest one and gave it to the demo and the hardest one to test out on. And that dog was perfect, except she found one 3-hair tail mat in a foot. And I was devastated. That's mortifying.
So I have to know, did she just kind of ignore it or did
Oh, no.
consequences?
No, she was like, mortification.
So did you get docked points?
Oh,
I
yeah.
did.
How
You know
that-
what? I passed and I got the cocker done first because I didn't like cockers. I'm like, well, I'm going to do the one that I disliked the most the first.
Yeah,
So I got that out of the way. So that's how it happened. But yeah, she was tough. It was an arduous weekend, and I only certified in one thing that weekend.
One thing. So now you have different levels,
Yes, we do.
or it's keeping
Of
everybody.
accreditation.
All the different ones is starting to mull now as we're talking. We haven't gone into the IPG yet. So there's like, okay, who's who? And this is why Bobby is on, because she actually teaches a seminar for the Academy for me about this in a 1-hour seminar, all about the different organizations and just blurps on them. So trying to keep these all straight.
Mhm. I believe that. Well, in our testing, when you decide after you've done the workshop, the workshop's mandatory, and it's mandatory for a reason. It's really a tutorial program, and we walk you through what we're looking for. Michelle's just shaking her head. She knows, she remembers. By doing the demonstrations, and right presently with the COVID, we're only doing 3 demos instead of 4. But our workshop is packed, and I don't know if you want me to talk about presently with the COVID, how we're doing this. It's still the same, it's just a little more condensed.
Yeah, I would say right now, because that's what we're in.
Okay. You come in and you do the workshop, and in our workshops, we're limiting them to 25, and we have to have a large enough room that those 25 people can pretty well socially distance. Yes, we'll have a little pod, a group of a shop over here, or pod over there, where people can commingle and be together, because that's what they do on a daily basis. But otherwise, it's a large room that we are working in for our workshop. And we have to do that temperature thing, or we get to do the temperature thing when they arrive, everybody with the sanitation and the masks are on. The certifier doesn't have to wear a mask because nobody's within 6 feet of the grooming table. So that's good. Because the first time I started out conducting my first workshop, I had that mask on and I thought I was going to die trying to make sure everything was getting out there into the whole room. But it worked out. Hey, you don't have to wear that mask. But we do take the temperatures. We record. Somebody comes in with the temperature, they are automatically dismissed. If somebody calls in and says, I couldn't come, my husband just came down with this, or my partner, whatever it is, they have a reason, not a problem. Everybody's given a credit because they couldn't come. We didn't want them to come. Don't take it personal. But the same thing with testing then. The room has to be large enough that we can put in enough tables to do our practicals the next day. But let me walk you kind of through the program. You come to a tutorial program, and we explain the program first thing in the morning, how you get your points, the costs. There's 8 tests that you end up taking to become a master groomer. 7 of them, you have to have an overall grade point average of at least an 85 or better. 75 is passing. That's better than it was when I was in school, but 75 is passing. And 85, that average has to be there. Those 7 tests, well, you have a sporting practical and a sporting written, non-sporting practical, non-sporting written. Terriers are, of course, they're different. 2 terriers, long-legged and short-legged practicals, and a written. Those make up your 7 tests. Let's say maybe you did get a low score. Maybe you got a 76 or a 77. Oh, well, you passed, right? Let's look at your overall grade point average. If perchance that was a practical and you had a mid-70s grade of, 75 or just a couple points higher, more than likely you're going to have to come back and retake that test. We don't want a lot of people out there having become a master with 1 or 2 high, very, very high grades, and they slid in with a couple of 76s or 77s, especially on their practicals. So they may be asked to have a redo. Writtens also. Now, we do take the practicals that much more serious than the writtens because we're the creative crew. We're not the ones that, under most circumstances, do really well when we test, and I hear that a lot. We can make exceptions for those that have needs, different testing needs, whether English isn't their first language, maybe they're dyslexic. There's all sorts of chemical imbalances that can be out there. ADD, and then you can't settle down to read the test. That kind of stuff. We can help you. We also, as long as we know in advance, we can have someone available to read you the test or work you through the written tests. And the practicals, well, they're timed. When was the last time you had an hour and a half to style, just finish a schnauzer? Well, we sure don't get that time in the shop. But under certification, yes. What we are looking for is not that pet trim on that schnauzer. We're looking for the breed profile. We want that dog to look like it should if it's going in the ring. Okay, then you go, okay, a schnauzer should be hand stripped. Yes, we would take that. We would accept that. But realistically, we would be trimming that schnauzer to look like breed profile without doing that hand stripping. Yes, you can hand strip. We don't give a separate certificate of completion presently, but it's noted that you passed on your schnauzer with this grade with it being a hand strip. That's acknowledged. It's not mandatory. Jeff Reynolds is our executive director. He's always concerned. He takes this very serious. He's always concerned. What about if it's that little corner of New Hampshire, the upper northeast corner, or the southeast corner of BFE, Kansas? I mean, how many times do you have that opportunity to learn hand stripping, let alone see a dog that's been hand stripped? So he's still concerned about isolated areas in this country. He's not ready yet to have us offer that other certificate of completion. So you can say you passed on non-sporting. You did really well on non-sporting. You passed. Both your written and practical. You can use the credentials to acknowledge that you're certified in non-sporting. So it doesn't have to be an NCMG. It can be Bobby, how does that certification look? You know how that looks. The accreditation people write out. Let's say it is non-sporting.
For you guys, for NDGA?
Yes.
Yeah, just certified groomer, registered groomer, and certified groomer.
And then we say NS after that non-sporting. You're right, we do. So there are people out there that, that's the breed, that's the group they want their certificate in. They maybe, there was a gal in Denver, hand stripped, and so she did terriers. She wasn't interested in non-sporting. She was interested in the terrier group, and that's what she came and got herself accredited in. And she did very nicely too. That was years ago, but I remember that. So you can do that too. You don't have to do the hand stripping yet in a terrier to become certified. So let's say you get a low grade. Let's say the grade it's not passing. You're not going to get a grade. What we're going to give you is a redo. The last thing I want to see is one of my certifiers writing down a 50. That's the kneecap somebody that's going after something as important as certification and accreditation. This person just needs help. So let's just write down redo. So they know they get to come back and they get to redo that section. And hopefully we have empowered them. That's why I don't want to give a grade. I don't want to kneecap anybody. We want to empower. We want to encourage. We want to show you the 3 or 4. Well, if you got a 50, probably there's more than 3 or 4 things you didn't quite get right on that dog, but you're never going to know you got that 50. You're just going to get a redo. And then we're going to try to empower you and tell you the areas, sometimes it's just like, you have to sit down. This is not pet grooming. This is walking that dog into the AKC competition ring doing profile work. And a lot of times there's a small percentage of people that come to testing that just aren't truly prepared. Not just a little not prepared. They're just truly not prepared. They didn't get it. They didn't read somebody, didn't have somebody to help them understand before the workshop or before testing.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because we got the financials from everybody else. What's the cost for the certification or the step 1, step 2, that kind of thing as you work your way to master?
It's pretty repetitive. It's $125 for the workshop.
Okay.
And $25 for each group, because you'll take 3 groups there. If you come in and you do both your written and practical at the same time, that's your 125. If you're a member of National Dog Groomers, you can do it your way. You can come in and just do writtens. You can come in and do a written non-sporting, a practical on one of the terriers, and written on sporting. You can do it your way. If you're not a member, you have to come in. You pay $125 to do a test. Whether you just do half of it, doing the practical or the written.
So it's 125 for both tests. It's up to you to determine how you want to take those. If you are a member, if you're a non-member, then
it's different.
Right, it's different. They have to take them at the same time within that group that they're doing.
Absolutely. And if they don't, I mean, there's people that say, well, they're kind of caught. I don't think I'm ready to take my written. Nobody's ever ready for that, but I don't really think I am. So they spend that money, they test the waters, they see what their practical is. Then when they come back to do that written, then it's $60 to take the written. They don't have the credit to take it because they're not a member. They can't do it their way.
Right. So it behooves them to actually be a member.
It does. Oh my gosh, our benefits are huge. It's like
right. That's what I was trying to get to, Wendy. Is what's the benefit of besides that of I'm a member, so I know. But what are some of the benefits for the people that don't know?
Yeah, you know what? Almost half of our membership are people that are members. I did that until I started when I went to grooming school a long time ago in 77. That was part of my graduation. I had to become a member, and that kick-started me. But it wasn't until after I became a master groomer that I started to look at all these wonderful benefits that they had. Tax preparation. Okay, who needs that? Well, we all need a good accountant or a CPA. Bad check retrieval. That's not so common anymore because of credit and debit cards, but it's still out there. We have connections to companies that they are the underwriters for our industry. In insurance, and it's business insurance, whether you bundle, whether it's just your business, whether you're an employee and your employer does not have liability coverage on you, you can get that. The insurance is out there for us to get. Okay, so we've got that part too, including health insurance. It's a different group that handles the health insurance, but you can also get the health insurance through the industry. Home Depot, not Home Depot, Office Depot. I use my little discount all the time on printing and faxing and stuff like that. So I have a discount there. Discount, I can get a dental program. Probably an on-site program goes with that also. There's there's like 20 plus benefits that you can tap if you know to do it, and then you do it. Because I spent a lot of years just being a member and not tapping it. And then all of a sudden I woke up one day and I went, quit messing around with all these insurance companies. Go with the pros. I mean, that was my best thing that I did for Wendy and my business. But they've got a lot of wonderful benefits. Car rentals, discounts, travel discounts. There's just a lot of good, unique, and it's across the board benefits just by being a member that you can tap. When you become a master groomer, you are on an automatic member. You have nothing to pay other than your annual master groomer's title. And what it is people go, oh, so if I earn this and then I quit. Well, people change in our industry all the time. That's why you can start this program and you can restart it anytime you want. There's not a definite, you have to stop. If you haven't accomplished starting to become a master groomer within 2 years, then you get to start over. No. But every year you get a bill for $50, and that re-ups your masters with the organization that comes with your free membership. If you fail to pay it, you get a bill, and then eventually you don't get bills. And if all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't done this for years, I haven't paid this for years, give Jeff a call. He negotiates everything with you. He does. He loves his groomers. Don't ever hesitate to call Jeff Reynolds.
Is I had to dig for the membership fee. For
Yeah,
so
okay. Thank you for asking about that, Dara. It is $90 to join.
90 to join. That's per person. So you don't
Per
have a
person.
salon membership.
No,
you don't have,
and we don't have associates like the supplier or the rescue group. It's strictly for groomers and their brusher bathers or people in the industry.
so as a business owner, if I said it's part of our requirements, I'd have to pay for everybody in my shop to have a membership.
Well, yes. I mean, if that's what you wanted, wouldn't you rather go after everybody being master groomers?
Well, yes, I mean, that is the ideal, but to pay for everybody to go through that, I think this is why we're kind of doing this, to see in which direction people want to go. So
Now, Dara,
I think there's ways around the owner having to eat that entire cost. I think that there are creative ways that you can get together with your staff and say, look, whether you pool tips and that tip money, you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of different creative ways to get to that $90 fee for each person, that it shouldn't be burdensome for the owner of the salon, and not everybody, and I don't mean this in a terrible way, but not everyone is meant to be a master groomer or wants to be a master groomer.
Right.
Yeah.
So membership is great. And I've been a member since like the early 90s. So, membership is really great. And especially as a new groomer, or if you haven't been, because you guys are the oldest. And so it actually instills a real sense of pride in you just to be a member. When you're just starting out in this industry, you feel like there's almost like a little bit of a lifeline there for you to gather information or to, be able to connect. I think there's a lot, and it's not just necessarily this one, but all the different ones. I think owners need to kind of get a little bit creative on how they're going to have their staff understand that membership in any of these, that we're going to present is really essential. I think, that they need to belong to these professional organizations. Hi, Jen.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Sorry I'm late. Hi,
Glad
Wendy.
you're here.
Welcome.
All right.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
I'm sorry I'm late. I had a minor medical emergency with the last dog in my day. And it was everything's fine. It was minor, but I just wasn't going to leave and come home early when I had to explain some things to Mom. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Dara, let me kind of explain. You can go through this program without becoming a member, but it pays to be a member, because if you're a member, not only can you do this testing your way, but you get discounts. You get discounts, different things, whether it's coming to our show or it is discounts.
No, I was just wondering if there were other levels of membership, is what, because I had to dig for it, like I said, on the website to try to find the membership fees.
Okay.
So I was just asking if there were other options. There are other have different, I know everybody does things differently, so I just wanted to check and see. And Mindy Dinwiddie asked, are the dues paid in January or depending on when you enroll?
It used to be when you enroll, and I don't know, home office may have changed that. I don't know how to correctly answer that, so I don't know.
Okay.
And I don't know either. Mine due in December, so it's kind of the same.
Okay.
Michelle, Melissa, when do you pay yours?
Ours are mine
Yeah.
for this one. It's an automatic. I think mine's an automatic.
So, okay. So it must just be based on the year.
Mine
Yeah,
mine comes in October.
In October. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay, so it is when you join. Well, the other thing too, it's 90 to join, it's 40 to maintain every year. If you are at
okay.
a shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I pay 90 every year.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay, yeah.
It costs more to bring you in to get you your little packet and the whole 9
Right.
yards.
Okay.
So
All
it's
right, that
40
makes
to
sense.
maintain. So when you become a master groomer, you're automatically a member, and all you do is pay for your master every year, and that's $50. You don't pay an additional 40.
And that's just to maintain your credentialing.
Absolutely, and your membership.
Credentialing.
Yeah, they throw in the membership on that because it's an honor to. I mean, we want our master groomers to keep re-upping. But
Right.
life goes on, and sometimes it's just not possible. People change. We know.
Yeah.
Well, since I've missed the first half hour of this, I have a question. But if it's already been asked and answered, please censor me. But I think NDGAA is been putting on a show of its own for some time. Is it Fun in the Sun or something?
Oh, it's Fun in the Sun, and it is.
Fun in the Sun. And so, have you had a chance to talk about that yet?
No, we were kind of going through step by step of all of them. So we were coming to that. Yeah. I do have a couple more questions going back to the organization, and then we'll get into
all
that.
Fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. Yeah. Do you know how many master groomers you have?
No, not enough yet. Florida has most of them. It's real tippy down there in Florida. No,
what I find interesting about NDGAA, you're the only one that I know that issues a number with each of the masters, like Master Groomer 4748 or whatever. I know you have thousands. I know you have thousands because I do believe our good friend, I don't want to mention names without their permission, but a former guest on our show was in the 4,000s, 4,500 or something with her master from you.
But I think what we were getting is, are they still active? Because if they're not still active, then there's the possibility that they don't have that credential anymore. Right. Is that what I was understanding with when you said if you haven't paid, talk to Jeff?
His phone will ring tomorrow. I hope. I see that in my own state. I mean, every other year we put out a directory. And when it's put out, it's like right at the cutoff is the beginning of the year. They work on getting the directory out, and then it's out. Well, if your dues are due the next month, you're probably not going to be in the directory. So the directory isn't, and I don't mean to make it, it's not always up to date. Let me put it, because people missing. And I count how many are in our state every time that directory comes out, which is every other year, to see if our numbers are still good, because we're second in the nation. And I see the people have dropped off, and as I'm counting in new names and who I know that has tackled that and mastered it, but I do see names that drop off, and sometimes it's just that they didn't get that payment. Maybe in 2 years they're back on again. So our directory isn't the best example of how many active we have right at that moment when it goes to print. It's just the way.
Is that active master groomers or just active members?
It's everything. The second half,
everything.
Members throughout the world. The first half are certified. Whether they're certified is non-sporting, and I shouldn't say just. Everything's an accomplishment to be applauded. And so it would say Wendy Booth NS, non-sporting. So that I'm not a master, but that's what I got done so far.
Okay. So to be that master, you have to have all of them.
To be a master, yes.
Okay.
And and then we own the credentials. That's trademarked, NCMG, National Certified Master Groomer.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else have a question? Did I miss anything for the first part?
Talk about the fun in the sun.
Fun in the
Yeah,
sun.
tell
Yep.
us about
So you
Fun in
have
the
that show.
Oh, now, if I start going like so, it's because we didn't have one last year. Fun in the Sun is absolutely the first name. I mean, we go down there to Orlando. It's always we've had. Well, this would have been our 39th year, I believe. I believe this would have been our 39th year. So we'll go on to our 40th year then, and just forget about what didn't happen. But we have a beautiful resort. It's at the Wyndham International Resort, and pools and Gatorville and huge room for us. The facilities are beautiful. They treat us like they're not mine.
I know. That's why I put headphones on. I got background.
But it's a beautiful resort. This year the dates, I had them wrong. I had just mentioned to Jeff, oh, it's the 4th, 5th, and 6th of November. He said no. And I think it's the 6th, 7th, and 8th of November, whatever Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is for this year. Friday is a full day closed, specialized.
5, 6, and 7.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was okay, good.
You're good.
But it's fun, and we offer our certification program there too. It's presently, and I've seen it dwindle throughout the years. This is the only show that we offer our program, that we have a mini workshop at, and then testing out of the competition ring or private testing on Monday for those that want to stay over and test on Monday. So that's what we do. We have a huge trade show, 70 to 85 vendors every year. The hallway just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It used to be just right out the door, and now it's going down the hallway. And the competition is held in the grand ballroom, but we just have fun. On Saturday night, it's usually, if it's not the Halloween party that we have some kind of a costume party, and that's down at Gatorville by the pool. And it's always fun. It's just fun. And you get to see everybody from all over everywhere that comes to the show.
And Florida's a nice place to go in November.
I did.
And they're good to us at this resort, so it's nice.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Right.
Do you all do anything international? Because I know you're national dog groomers, but we also, I know ISCC and IPG do international certification. Do you do any certifications outside the USA?
We have down in South America. We've been over to over to Malaysia, Japan, Canada. We've not been doing it so much in the past several years, but we've got national certified master groomers throughout the world. I don't know how many countries we're in. It's not going to like a gazillion, but it's at least a handful plus of other countries that we have master groomers in. And I know I certified a gal in 2004 that went to Dubai with mobile units. So,
wow. So did they have to come here to do the practicals?
And she lived here at that point. But we have been invited to other countries to come in and do the program. And I remember when Tomoka was with us, and Nancy and Tomoka went to Malaysia, and they walked away with more than a handful of master groomers by the time they left.
That's great.
But I don't want you to think we frequent, oh gosh, we'll be in Italy on such and such a date. We're pretty much here nowadays.
Well, as are we all.
Yeah. The testing and doing that. So you're testing in the groups.
Yes.
Is it all about when you take your written test? It's all about breed profile, breed standard, everything to do with that breed. Are there other tests in that? What am I trying to say? Are there other non-breed specific
Yes.
tests that you have that you need to take? Other skills, other knowledge?
This is a good question. Those 3 groups take care of 3 practicals and then the writtens on those groups, and that includes a breed identification. Your master's test entails the other 4 groups. Your hounds, working toys, and
Herding.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
My favorite group.
But we cover those 4 groups, breed ID on that too. But then we get into, we have a glossary where you have definitions. Then we also have parts of your clippers and your shears that you must name. We get into a little bit of pesticides. And I think I mentioned the breed IDs. I mean, you got to go through all those hounds and identify them. Not quite all the hounds, but we do cover other things in our industry, skin and coat. Nothing like ISCC, nothing. But and you know what? It's not
Safety
all.
and sanitation.
And on that, that's part of it also. But I just lost my train of thought.
Anatomy.
Yes, thank you, Bobby. You can't get through this program without knowing the anatomy, and I can tell you why. I tried. I couldn't do it. My very first test, I'm thinking, I don't have to know anatomy. And then it's just like smack, smack, smack. Yes, you do. And thank goodness I saw the light before I went back and did any more testing, because I kind of went through my first dog, came back and did my other 3 and the rest of the testing. And by then I did know the anatomy within a year. Anatomy, you must know anatomy. We do get into some skin and coat. We talk about hair follicles, but that anatomy is important. And so that's part of it too. So the master's kind of entails everything we didn't cover in those first 3 groups. But those first 3 groups, you can test on dogs we see most in the shop. Now you get to non-sporting, there's 2. You got your poodle and you got your Bichon. We don't have a Caton yet. And the drop coat, like Lhasa, we're not into drop coats at this point, and I don't know if we ever will be. Even though it's a huge part of what we do in many situations, at least what I do, now that I've downsized my dogs. But we do get into everything else in our industry. Well, we don't customer relations, but that's always a good one.
I guess I got to ask, because maybe I'm the only one who doesn't know, but why not with drop coats?
Yeah, we just haven't had a standard. Felt that we've been able to come up with a standard to offer that dog in there for testing, because a lot of if you're going profile, that Maltese is to the ground, the Shih Tzu.
That's right.
I
was going to say,
to the ground, so we're not looking them.
If you're doing breed standard testing, which is what you're doing, anything that's a drop coat is going to be basically a bath and tidy. There's no hair cutting to the torso at all.
Right.
On top of the fact that they keep those dogs wrapped to keep that pristine.
Oh yeah.
And so the likelihood of you being able to obtain one of those, in that pristine coat and knowing how to wrap it. I only know this because of Shih Tzus that I've been involved with my whole life. So it is a huge undertaking, believe it or not. Every groomer always thinks, oh, there's not a lot to do there, but to prepare them for the show is insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have a study guide? I mean, how would people prepare?
No, thank you. We do have our study material. And you know what? I want to bring up Notes from the Grooming Table. That's a wonderful book. The second one's even better than the first.
The second edition is incredible.
It is. It's just how she just upped the game. was amazing in that second edition. We take some information out of that, not a lot, because it really is pet grooming, but it'll start right out there and tell you this breed should be hand stripped. And about 15 to 20% of our questions actually involve pet grooming versus the breed profile work. And that's what it's so not just breed profile work. I mean, we deal all the time with our pet grooming. So it's not just isolated to that. I mean, it helps make you be a better rounded groomer. And you can do the profile, or you have the knowledge of doing that.
But all the practicals are specifically on the breed standard profile, correct?
Yeah.
You get a cool little packet. When you send in for the packet, you can send in for what they're looking for, and it sends you all the information. It shows you the shape they're looking for. Yes, who's going to show it to you? It shows you what they're looking for. So you can read through all that material, start preparing your coat and growing it out, getting 6 to 8 weeks worth of length on it, or whatever it is that you're trying to do for that coat. And it is so easy. It's handy dandy. Look at her holding it up. It's
That's wonderful.
Nice.
Dara asked for about a study guide. That's as close as you get to a study guide.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is this, I'm going to ask now from owning an academy, is this something I can purchase that students can have access to see? Because again, I'm teaching green groomers, so they're starting off on a foundation, but that I don't want to be overwhelming as well. But I do like them to have access to seeing all these different options for them to continue their education. Is this something that I could add in as study guide, or how?
Yeah, I would think so. Now, there's 15 breeds here. So it's not all the acceptable breeds that we could use for testing.
Right.
Like we show several spaniels, the English Cocker, the American Cocker, and the English Springer Spaniel. But
which are the most common.
Well, all the setters are acceptable except the one, and then the red and white doesn't usually have enough coat.
Right.
So we can test on setters too, and oftentimes people think, oh, it's just spaniels because that's what we have in the book. But no, there's setters too. And a simple phone call, whether it's to me or to home office, we can tell you, yes, that breed's acceptable, or no, it's not. And that question really comes up more with the hand stripping. Or actually, no, we get a lot of setter questions. People don't realize, yeah, you can bring a setter in there. They have a pattern. And that's, we don't accept the border terrier now because, yes, it's a great dog to hand strip. It's a great dog to learn on, but it doesn't have a pattern. So we don't accept that. Then you come like the Cairn Terrier. Well, when it's time to do your short-legged terrier, a Cairn must be hand stripped. We can't take a clipped Cairn. That's just stated. So you don't know about hand stripping, then do a Westie or a Scotty or a Sealy, go. So a lot of options, but there are breeds too we don't accept. Okay.
And those are all written down for that?
Yes, right.
Okay.
And we have a good idea. You know what I would suggest with you talking with Jeff about this booklet versus the whole packet, because the whole packet gets you ready for your master's test.
Right. Yeah.
That booklet would be a fabulous educational tool for them. Absolutely.
Wendy, do you guys actually have school-wide curriculums, where you do, you have NDGAA certified schools with the whole package type curriculums? Do you do that, or do you only certify individual groomers, not schools?
No, we don't certify the schools, and Dara may have some good input on this to support this, but we frequently get a school that calls up and says, we want to offer your program to our students. We want you to come in, and so our students leave being certified. Very, very few people groomers, or students rather, are ready to start certification program. And there are,
Absolutely.
I can name 3 schools right now that I'm very aware of. Their students come out of there and they're at our workshops. They're not ready to start testing, but some of them do. At Fun in the Sun, on Friday nights we have a beginners competition. It takes 15 students because you can't have been in the industry more than 365 days.
Right.
Even if that was 364 being a brusher bather. You can't. You bring your own dog. You get up there and compete like the big girls and boys do on the next day, and it's amazing. These 3 schools that I'm aware of, and there's probably a lot more. I just know these are the ones I get to go see them putting students out, and that's Merrifield, Peregrine, and then a school right here in the state of Colorado called Dog's Own Grooming School. Oh my gosh, they have people at the workshops, not just one, they have many students, and it's not all their students. It's kind of the instructor sees somebody that's a shining star and says, you need to go to this. This is going to really help you see what you're going for in your career, because your work is already up there. Most schools, I mean, however long they are, they get you your good foundation, hopefully. And it's up to the student to learn whatever it is they're being taught, because sometimes they just don't. But students really.
That I do know.
Yes, you would.
That I do know.
Hey, Wendy, in the chat room, one of your own, Sean Gadini, is saying hello to you. And it's good to see you. Hi, Sean.
Yeah, so now I was going to ask you something else. Now I can't remember what it was. Come back here. Sorry, there's one more question. I'm like full of questions tonight.
I have another question too. What do you think the average time frame is to go from beginning testing to master status? Like you said, don't try and do all this in a weekend. What is a workable time frame so that they can get an idea that if they decide to do this, that it's a process that should take maybe 6 months or 3 months or a year or whatever. What's the average?
The biggest challenge we have is our lack of being able to do certification programs every weekend throughout the country. We usually do 16 to 18 a year throughout the U.S. and this year we've got 12, and I think we managed 10 last year, and it was walking out on that dive.
That's amazing.
It was kind of real scary. Well, I got to do 2 of those, and you just kind of went in with blind faith that everything was going to turn out okay, and the whole last year went out done unscathed. Now it was only 10, but we got through it unscathed. So we're going for 12 this year, but we've had a couple of situations where a shop says they want to, and now they're kind of iffy because of what's going on, or the local certifier is kind of going, I'm holding back for now, and that's okay. It's okay. It's what we've got to do, though, to get through this. I mean,
well, you're only doing them face to face, correct? You're not offering anything virtually right now.
That's what I was going to ask.
We just never have, because we want to be able to see that dog. And people go, well, okay, Wendy, I just need to hire you to come up here, and so and I can get certified. You just come certify us. Well, they don't make enough money to do that because they have to pay for transport. We are for profit, and there are many times that there's all the money just went out, and there might not be a penny left for profit, but we got everything paid because it's it's a site that is just kind of, we know it's going to go, but it hasn't quite yet. We sometimes have to cancel a test site. We did 2 years ago, and I don't remember why. It had nothing to do with COVID. But every so often the interest isn't there, or something happens, we lose the location.
I'm sorry, I want to ask I just wanted to clarify. Did you say that NDGAA is for profit or not for profit?
No, we are for profit, all of us.
Yes, as all of the certifying agencies are. Okay, I was confused.
I've been to test sites where when it's all over with, Jeff didn't make anything extra, but he got the bills paid, and that happened. But
So that stretches that time frame out more because
yeah,
they
it's
need to
more
be able
like
to
how many years. I got it done in 2.
Okay.
But I say it's more like 3 or 4, unless you want to travel. I mean, if you're just stuck in Ohio, well, we don't always have a program in Ohio every year. If you come to Colorado, sometimes we have 2, but we've always had 1. So that's kind of an example. In Florida, oh my God, they've had as many as 3 packed because there's a master groomer on every corner in Florida. It is.
That's
Seems
great.
like it.
So ultimately, you're looking at the bare minimum about a year, and then above and beyond that, you're looking at several to 3 years to get to go through and obtain your master. So it's not a take the workshop and then do these couple of things really quick and here you go, here's your paper. You're now a master. So okay.
Right.
I just wanted to give people that are watching this or watching it and rebroadcast an idea of the time frame that of a commitment that you have to make to do this.
And I think that's an okay thing. The master groomer should
Absolutely.
take years. There's a thing out there in the sort of college educational universe. You hear about this 10,000 times that you have to do anything to be a master at it. You can't really be a master of any skill if you haven't done it thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times, because and we all know that from our own grooming, that you just have to get to the point where your hands know what to do without you even telling them what to do. Right. And so people shouldn't expect to be a master quickly or easily. It's something that is supposed to really reflect having done something so much that you're just so good at it. Yeah.
Yes. And some people are privileged enough that they can get to a second test site in a year, so maybe third by traveling. A good example. Okay, Georgia, Florida. We're at WPA. We're down there. We take dogs out of the contest ring. There's no mini workshop, but we will take dogs out of the contest ring and do the practical testing. Then on your own private time, you can grab your written and go off to a private area and do your written. So I know we're at Atlanta, and then we're at gee whiz, Hershey. I think that's it in our own show now. Yeah, we've downsized in the last several years, and we used to also be able to offer programs at some of these shows, but the shows realized that the space was more important to be used for something else. So the only place you can go to any workshop is at FITS in November, Fun in the Sun in Orlando, through us. But like I mentioned at WPA, you can do your testing out of the show ring, out of the competition ring. So
I was lucky enough to do both all of my practicals in Colorado because I lived there, and then I flew to Fun in the Sun to do my written master test. So I was able to finish in 2 years doing it that way.
Wow, Bobby,
that's awesome. A lot, Bobby. Yeah,
it's a lot. And I was really lucky to have all of them in Colorado, Jenny and Wendy, and it was really close. It was only an hour away, so it was really easy for me to go every time it came, and I continued to go to all of the seminars, the first day seminars for everybody, just to kind of answer any questions if anybody had any, or just help out or bring dogs for demos to do.
Yes, Bobby, and it was quite the social event for all the masters to show up. When you come to a workshop and you're already a master, you're usually coming to support somebody you know and somebody you've worked with. But it's quite the social gathering in Colorado when you realize there's 18 master groomers there. And that's just the way we roll in Colorado. There's always somebody to help somebody else. get ahead to rent a dog or whatever. And renting dogs, that's a big thing. We don't necessarily encourage the client dog. That's the dog that's the little poodle that's a little bit longer than it is taller, and now maybe a lot longer. You got to try to work with that not so well built dog. That's
Right.
the challenge. The best way, though, to get dogs is if it's not from somebody in our industry. I saw the same Cocker Spaniel at every program in Colorado for 5 years. And it was just a different person. And that's the way we roll up here.
Yeah.
So when you can't get something easy, you find your local kennel club, go to the president or secretary, find,
Excellent. Yep.
I need your help. Bobby, you've got that dog I need, or no, people. Who can that crapper a Cocker Spaniel from? And you're going to know somebody because you're a kennel club member. That's the best way. They got 47 Cockers back there. They all need to be in number 4s. No, that you can learn on. And
Bobby, are you a certifier with NDGAA?
No, I just hang around and help.
Just one of the masters. That's awesome. Is there what can you speak to? We haven't actually discussed this with any of the others, but to become a certifier, what's the journey there, or is it kind of different with every person? Because I do know that over in other agencies over time it has changed.
Yeah, we've gone through some changes as to what we feel is necessary. In 07, maybe it was 08, Peggy and Jeff had decided groom team. You needed to have been on groom team.
Mm.
So prior to that, it was you needed to have competed and won in Division A. So we just upped it a little bit more there. And honestly, Jeff and I have just had this discussion. And we're trying to make some other little changes because teen people recently, they're not so much out there. They're not working for Wall or repping for so-and-so and out there giving lectures and traveling here and there so much. They've kind of gotten on groom team, done what they've done and gone home. See, the faces that we're seeing now that are my age. We got the youngsters, so we're talking about looking at maybe making a few changes. You just got to be good and universal at what you're doing in the industry. Clipping a dog backwards, so that they can all see while you're clipping it instead of just doing it right in front of you. But that's a good task, and doing this at the same time. So
excellent. Well, this is so great that we've had this series of weekly conversations about.
I think it's a lot of really great information for people to make informed decisions. I've never heard of one place that you can go every week and actually learn about all this. Besides, if you take Bobby's class.
And we cram it into 1 hour.
Right.
45 minutes with a Q&A.
yes.
I think she could turn it into a 2-hour, but
we have the platform for them to be able to just give all their information so the groomers can make an informed decision.
Yeah. And I did post the website in the chat, so that's there. And I posted it in the original link as well, so people have access to it.
And one of the things I really want to stress, I mentioned it early on in the program, if you think you want to up your game, go for it. It doesn't matter which group, go for multiple groups. Just do something and up your game, challenge yourself. And get a credential. I mean, gee whiz. Or credentials. There's not one bad nut in any of these certifying groups. It's we're all in it together for a reason. To up our industry.
Yes.
And they've all said that as well. we've had that. Sorry, go ahead, Bobby. What was that?
I was just saying that the certifiers are willing to help you. If you've got a question, send them a message. They're all really friendly and will help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions from the chat? It's been very quiet tonight.
Yeah, it's been really quiet. But it is spring break, or some people are
that's
doing that. So.
yeah, that's
I
true.
choose to believe everybody's really focused.
Yeah,
Well,
and
or if you're anywhere in the Midwest, you just got socked by a snowstorm too.
yes, that happened, and we did have daylight savings, so people are still trying to get caught up on that. So we might have more pull in the next couple of days because we tend to get some more comments and questions over the next course of the few days. So we should
with the replay
over there. Yeah. Yep.
So more to come next week. But Wendy, thank you so much for saying
yes.
Yes,
pleasure having you.
Thank you. So it was fun. It was fun, ladies.
Yes, and I'll be in touch for
you,
some
Bobby.
info.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, so that wraps up tonight's episode, ladies. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us late.
I'm sorry.
Bobby, thanks for jumping in. It's always lovely seeing you. And to all of our viewers, it's been a good night. So we will see you next week. We have Linda Easton from the IPG on.
Good.
And we were looking for more, so I did send some emails out to others, but I have not heard back. So I'm not sure.
I would like to get somebody from the AKC Safe program. So let's try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So hopefully in 2 weeks we'll have that. Hopefully.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
you.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night. I am going to end our broadcast, and we'll see everybody next week. Same time.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy. Thank you.
Thank you.